One of the four original photojournalists for Life magazine, Margaret Burke White set the precedent for modern photo essays and pioneered a field of predominantly male artists. Her work was criticized for being too cold and industrial, yet the stories she told were the stories of people behind pivotal points of the mechanical age. Though her private life was unconventional, having married and divorced multiple times, her professional work was her main priority. Not only was she the first and most prominent female photographer in the 1930s and 40s, she gained prominence in the industry and unprecedented access to global affairs. She was influenced by her father to pursue photography with meticulous methodology. This methodology was apparent in her freelance work, which was noticed by Henry Luce in 1929. The editor of Fortune took her on to cover the stock market crash and global industrial affairs. During this time, she gained notoriety and respect with work in Fortune, the New York Times, and Soviet magazines. When launching his rebrand of Life, Luce could think of no better photographer than Burke White. On November 23, 1936, the first issue of Life was published, featuring a photo of Fort Peck Dam on the cover by Margaret Burke White. Burke White's knack for dramatic lighting and being where the action was allowed her to rise to the top of the industry. In a field thought dangerous for women and dominated by male photography, her dedication to perfection made her work impossible to ignore. During her 33 years at Life magazine, her major projects included covering the rebound following the Great Depression, industrial achievements, and American urbanization. Her essays increasingly focused on the people, but maintained a calculated framing from her earlier works. The enhanced drama of her style brought the world to coffee tables of American homes. The height of Life's circulation topped at 4 million copies a week and was read by 13.5 million people. She is claimed to be the only photographer in Moscow in 1941 during the World War II German raids of the Kremlin and took Soviet leader Joseph Stalin's portrait. In Europe, she shadowed the Air Force and photographed Nazis. She covered Mahatma Gandhi up to the final hours before his execution. Though criticized heavily for lacking dedication to home and family, without her determination to be in the middle of the action and portrayal of life with such accuracy and emotion, the American public would not have had the first-hand and in-depth coverage of the world as it was at the cusp of commercial and social revolution, or at the forefront of war. Burke White brought photojournalism into the modern era by not just showing, but telling a complete story, and emphasizing the drama of real events with an artistic editorial eye that the American people can relate to.